The proudly South African Buy Local Summit and Expo is done and dusted, and the two-day event brought captains of industry in various economic sectors under one roof in Sandton to promote localization. And to unpack the importance of that and stimulating the economy and creating jobs, we're joined virtually by one-day-only Sales Director Lauren Venter. Lauren, thank you so much for your time. I mean, One Day Only has become quite well known, mainly by those emails that drop into your inbox every day, tempting you to buy something that you probably can do without. So in that way, very, very successful. But quite interesting that you're encouraging localization, because you do play a big volume game. If you look at the amount of things that you're putting out on your platform and the amount of products that you're obviously moving around the country as well, where does localization fit into your business plan?
Yeah, thank you. Very nice to be with you this evening. I think as a proudly South African business, we are very, very proud of the fact that we are South African owned, for South Africans in South Africa. Even though the business started 13 years ago with just 2 people, we've already got 350 people who are currently working for One Day Only, which is an amazing thing. But I think more than that, it's not just the direct sort of business that we impact. We also have all these other businesses that we impact. For example, the courier companies and the packaging companies and the media agencies. So there is a much broader picture of sort of businesses themselves that we ripple into. And then obviously we've got the fact that we are an e-commerce site and that we can offer amazing digital shelf space for suppliers who are producing amazing local products.
I mean, we can remember in our lifetime, Lauren, when there was probably only when e-commerce was this new shiny thing, and there was only probably one company doing it or doing it at scale. I suppose from a localization point of view, the fact that there's now more space for all kinds of e-commerce platforms is also a way of localizing the digital retail space.
Definitely. And I think, over the last couple of years, the business has scaled in many ways. But over COVID, there really was a huge sort of trajectory upwards, where people suddenly became comfortable with sharing their credit card details online and with shopping online. And the great thing is that many people have maintained that from that period onwards. And they're so excited to get their newsletter in the morning. And many people say to us, they just love to be able to click online and to see the great deals every morning, to see what they need and what they want to buy.
How is your business going about encouraging locally manufactured products to get onto your platform? Explain to us how the back end works, about a person who says, look, I'm making, let's say, these handbags. I really can't scale up in terms of distribution on my own. How do they go about approaching you, getting their product in front of you? What happens next in that process?
I think being an online company and being a very small sort of nimble business does mean that it makes it a little bit easier for people to approach us. But we do need people who can actually produce on a scalable on scalable volumes. So if somebody has just got 1 or 2 items, or if they're producing and they don't have a consistent quality on their products, then we're not the platform to use. But I think if there are any local manufacturers who are producing great quality items, that they can produce some volume on it, that they can send through great quotes and really make their products look great, they are welcome to get onto our site and to contact us and to send through their deals to us. We do curate them, we do look through and make decisions on it. But I think what is really important is that we are committing. We did join the proudly South African team this week, and we have committed to say that we will be giving digital shelf space to local suppliers on a regular basis. And specifically once a month, and this starts from next Wednesday, we're going to be running Proudly South African Shops, which is members in the Proudly South African team will be able to submit products for us, and we'll select from that to be able to run and give them great exposure on our One Day Only site.
I'm not sure if you've done any research on this, but how do your users respond to a product where there perhaps is a banner on it, or it says at the bottom, this is a proudly South African product, or this has been made in South Africa? Is that something you do? And what have you found has been the reaction by your users when that is part of, I suppose, the retail story being sold to them in that little split second?
Yeah, I think we've done a reasonable job on it in the past, but we definitely are going to be emphasizing it even more going forward. The South African economy, we've had some really rough times, and the reality is that every single one of us South Africans need to be a part of the solution. And so part of that is if you're going on and you're looking to buy a product and you can see that it is manufactured in South Africa, then ideally we want people to be looking for those products and to actually be supporting local. And I think the same goes even with One Day Only. We are a South African business, and we would hope that with sort of international things happening over the next while, that South Africans would be looking at it and saying, okay, cool, we want to support a business that is employing South Africans, that is equipping, training, upskilling, and that the finances all stay in South Africa. So I think that is something that's really important.
And I suppose the aim would be that when you speak, you talk about the volume game, game, and that is really the bottom line for an organisation such as yours. In as much as you're making encouraging moves now to give proudly South African products some space, or a lot of space, in the limelight, by the sounds of it. Do you think that we've moved as consumers towards understanding and accepting that when you're buying a South African product, it doesn't mean that it's inferior or not as good as a similar product perhaps that's made overseas, and that the price point can indeed compete?
I think actually being part of this Proudly South African Summit that happened this week, you realize actually how many amazing products out there are produced in South Africa and are South African based. And I think if we just start to look at it a little bit more carefully and focus on it, I think we really can make a massive, massive difference. And we definitely are intending to help promote that and to push that message out there so that people can just realize, well, I'm going to spend some money and I'd rather buy something that's South African made. But I think in terms of suppliers, I think it is really, really important for people to realize that they do need to focus on the quality, that they do need to focus on business systems, that they do need to make sure that they are providing a product that is at a level that will be acceptable to South African consumers.
Because consistency is indeed key. Thank you so much. That's Lauren Venter. She's the sales director of One Day Only, joining us virtually there. Great speaking to you this evening.